Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining. So today we're launching another Success Program Masterclass, and today we're going to discuss ways to scale and streamline your operations. Okay, so just a few reminders. So right before we jump in, I want to briefly highlight some things for you to be aware of. So if you haven't already, make sure that you can hear us adjusting your audio settings. Don't forget that you all are automatically muted. So although we can't hear you, you can always click on the Q&A box in the bottom of the screen to submit any questions. We'll get to them at the end. And if you have to leave early or want to rewatch the session at a later time, we're going to be emailing you the recorded event after the session ends. Okay, so now let's introduce our speakers for today. So my name is Moselle. I'm an account manager with the Success Program. It's nice to meet all of you that I haven't been on calls with yet. I'll be leading our webinar today with my colleague Celine, who's our customer success team lead with the Success Program, and she's going to cover the accounting aspect of Guesty. Now, I'm also pleased to let you know that we have with us today Jesse, CPA at Zimplify, as well as the CEO, who's going to share his knowledge and insights to help you find the resources that you need to scale your accounting. So with that, let's jump right in. Okay, so let's quickly review our agenda. So we're going to begin by reviewing some of the main challenges that you see every day in your day-to-day operations in terms of scaling your business, and taking it to a place where you can actually focus on high-level operations, where you have the time and the mental space to focus on those high-level operations. So we've noticed that in many situations, two of the most difficult topics to scale are the element of guest communications and accounting. Both of these take a tremendous amount of time and effort to work with, which is why a lot of times people end up staying manual rather than trying to move to more efficient options. So if you want to maintain a great booking conversion and even more exceptional guest experience, you need to make sure that you're also answering all of your guest inquiries immediately and with care. So your owners have pretty much the same level of demand, right? You want to satisfy them, of course, to keep them happy and satisfied clients. And that means offering them transparency with things like organized and detailed owner statements so that they understand how the business is running. So we're going to use this session to provide our tips and resources on options to best optimize these two critical elements. And then last but not least, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to finish our session with a live Q&A. So, and with that, let's dive right in. So we're going to start out by addressing a challenge that many property management companies face. So many property management tasks are still really manual, or they're using outdated tools, which is then hindering efficiency and growth. So the impact of this is that these methods, they consume time and then they impede company growth. And the short-term rental industry is an incredibly fast-paced industry. If you want to stay relevant, you need to stay updated on the trends, and that includes with your tech stack. So for example, if we think about jumping from channel to channel or platform to platform to manage just your daily operations, this is creating complexity, and it's also a significant roadblock to scalability. And if we continue down this path, the struggle to grow and compete in this fast-paced ecosystem, it becomes increasingly challenging for you. So we're going to explore how Guesty offers solutions to break from these limitations, allowing you to streamline your operations, enhance efficiency, and ultimately thrive in what we know is a very dynamic industry. So in the slide that we're seeing here, this is kind of a breakdown of the functionality and services that Guesty offers with the intention of covering all elements of your business. So this includes built-in functionality to the platform, such as automations and reporting, as well as premium features, such as our dynamic pricing tool or our guest communication services, which we're going to discuss a little bit later on. So now we're going to get a little bit more familiar with the importance of guest communications, and we're also going to present to you Guesty's solution to this. So when we talk about guest communications, there are a few things we want to make sure that we're on top of, and good reasons why. So the first is quick responses drive success. A speedy host response increases booking conversions. We also want to make sure that we're minding the 60-minute mark, so 60-minute response time on average. So at Guesty, we always recommend that you have a 60 and under minute response time to your guests. This is not an arbitrary number, actually. This is a condition of being an Airbnb superhost. So the status relies on maintaining an average response time under 60 minutes. So we're basically saying this is like the gold standard for the industry. So some of the other really important reasons for a fast response is in terms of guest satisfaction, shows that you're attentive and you're committed to your guest needs. Customer expectations, quick responses enhance overall guest experience. We know that a lot of times clients are coming with expectations and demands that they expect to be met by the property management company. This is also going to give you, though, a competitive advantage because responsive properties gain a competitive edge because, again, this ties into the guest satisfaction and this sense that there is someone on the other end who is committed to giving you that exceptional experience. Some of the other benefits, if we're looking at quick and timely responses, so problem resolution. If someone has an issue, the faster you handle it, the more satisfied they're going to be with the resolution. Doesn't matter if the resolution would have been the same a few hours later, right? Also, it influences your online reputation. So a low response time, which means that you're responding quickly to your guests, you're going to get positive reviews for this, and this is going to give you a favorable online presence. We're also talking about repeat business. Someone who trusts you and the experience that you provide is going to want to come back and stay at your properties and recommend others to stay at your properties as well, because they already know what kind of experience they can expect and they don't feel like they're taking a risk by staying in one of your properties. So in essence, we recommend that you look at your communication as a proactive strategy. So the objective is that you want a low average response time because this is a proactive approach to excellent customer service. And the benefit of this is you're meeting guest expectations and you're building a positive reputation in the competitive STR industry, therefore setting yourself apart. So we just discussed some of the challenges that are faced by PMCs, but we want to continue to explore the really important element of your operations, which is also not just the guest experience, but how you're actually handling your guest communications. So it's really difficult to try and strike that correct balance between automation and manual efforts as you try and decide where to dedicate attention to, while also trying to be the fastest to convert a booking or satisfy your guests in order to get that 5-star review. So too much automation can lead to a lack of personalization, but also too much manual effort can be too time consuming. It can also be prone to errors and also very expensive, especially if you're hiring on additional staff or VAs to take care of this. So it's really important to understand the volume and the timing of the messages you're receiving from guests so that you can plan your response strategy, basically. So if you notice a significant influx during specific timeframes, so for example, nights or weekends, and you also notice that this is impacting your overall response time, you or your team is not managing to stand under the amount of inquiries that you're receiving at these specific times. So then we would recommend that you consider exploring other options rather than just covering this in-house. So for example, we'll talk about our guest communication services in just a few slides, which we propose as a solution to this. So specifically, if we're looking at this slide right here, this is taken from the communication dashboards in our advanced analytics feature. So here you can use filter dates to check and monitor your efficiency in this domain and then rectify and readjust if needed. So here you can see your average response time. You can also see it broken down by guest. You can also see the average amount of messages that are coming in as well, and even drill down to see which hour you are receiving the most. You have the ability, if you have a multi-person team answering your communication, you can see down to which agent the volume of tickets they are answering over a period of time, which can also help you strategize in terms of your staff to make sure that everyone is pulling their weight. So here we have a quick poll. We want to know if you're interested in getting more information about your guest communication data. So let us know if you want us to get in touch with you, if you already have it, or if you're not interested in any further insights. Okay, we'll give this a few more seconds. Okay. So now let's look at another important tool, which is here to help you streamline your communication. So we're looking at right now the auto response feature. So this is a tool within the Guesty platform, and it's designed to enhance your communication efficiency, particularly when aiming to meet that 60-minute Airbnb standard. So you have the flexibility to set a specific time frame, let's say 50 minutes, that within which you aim to respond to the initial guest message. Now, if you haven't responded to a guest message within the predefined time frame, then the auto message response is triggered. So if you as the property manager do respond to the user before the 50-minute threshold, then the auto response trigger is disregarded. So this dynamic adjustment is going to ensure that you're able to address the inquiry promptly, and then therefore the automated message won't interfere. It's not going to be sending them duplicates of the same message. So something also important to note about the auto response feature is this needs to be set up on the listing level. And if you want to activate it for all of your listings, which we do recommend, we're happy to do this in bulk. So you can always reach out to us at success@guesty.com and we can assist you with that task. Okay, so another key feature that's going to assist you with your communication is utilizing workflows. So the key here lies in striking the right balance between those automated and manual messages. So in order to ensure that your communication is going to be efficient, but still personalized, and also ideally avoiding unnecessary repetition in the same way that the safe fail rule is set up for the auto responses. So the first thing that you're going to need to do with your workflows is structure them. So consider creating different workflows that are tailored to specific types of stays. So for example, a last minute booking or a reservation that's made well in advance, having two different workflows allows you to customize your communication strategy based on the needs of each scenario. Someone it's a last minute booking needs all of their information quickly. Someone who is checking in, months later than when they've actually made the booking, they don't need that initial information yet. So as we mentioned, we want to try and avoid the repetition with automation, not just because it's annoying, but because, again, we want to give that personalized feeling to our guests. We don't want to make them feel that they're just part of some kind of, automated system that's sending them messages. So it's important to kind of identify the important information that guests are often inquiring about and try and automate that within your workflows. So, for example, payment details, check-in codes, other frequently asked questions can be automated. So this is saving time for you and for the guest. If you know that this is something that comes up with every inquiry, you're already providing them with that information. Again, giving them the sense of attentiveness. There's someone who's actually committed on the other end. They're taking the steps to kind of proactively address concerns that you might have. A pro tip that's really important with workflows is you can use custom fields to incorporate personal information from the reservations or from listings within your workflows. So this way you can maintain the efficiency of your automations while also adding that personalization. Okay, so For those of you who have been on calls with me, you are aware of how much I love our guest communication service. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the service, basically imagine having a team that is solely dedicated to managing guest messages and guest experience on your behalf. So our guest communication service offers exactly that. It's a specialized guesty trained, guesty team that's handling all guest inquiries. Therefore, we're ensuring prompt responses and we're providing an elevated level of service. You're basically taking on an entire additional team specifically dedicated to this topic. So if managing guest communication is stretching your team's working hours or impacting efficiency, it might be time to consider a communication service such as ours. We're bringing on a VA. This is going to optimize your team's resources, but it's also ensuring that your guests' needs are met around the clock. So there's two different formats for our guest communication services. There's the 24/7, which is exactly that, 24/7 coverage. And then we also have the off hours. So the off hours is 8 to 12 hours of your choosing. It includes holidays and weekends. And that's for people who say, I feel that I have the guest communications under control during the day, but I want someone who's covering me during the night, or vice versa. I don't have time to get to it during the day, but I don't mind picking up the phone at night. So both of these formats are offered to be able to tailor to you what your actual need is for this type of coverage. I don't need to tell you, you're all fully aware, guest inquiries come in at any time, day or night. Our 45-minute response time, I'm very pleased to let you know that we can now commit to this 45-minute response time with our service, is purely to enhance guest satisfaction. Another really amazing element of the service is that we offer a phone line for your guests to call and have an agent answering to assist. It doesn't have to be just for emergencies. It can be for troubleshooting, answering questions, even taking reservations. The team does much more than just communicate with your guests as well. They can also take care of review management, so publicly responding to guest reviews. As you know, responding to reviews drives more bookings. They can also be in touch with your field team, so operations, maintenance, cleaning, liaison visits. If you have someone who's checking in early, checking out late, they can contact the cleaning team to make the adjustments to let them know when the property needs to actually be cleaned. And this is to allow you to redirect your time and attention to other tasks. So this team will also handle any monetary requests and alterations. Of course, following your guidelines and promoting your brand at all times. You set the parameters with our team, how you would like us to respond, formal, more formal, less formal. Sign off as Jennifer, sign off as the GCSP team. You choose how we work with you and your business, basically. Okay, so we've talked a bit about the capabilities of the service right now. There's so much more that they do, but that's kind of in a nutshell. So if we look at some of the benefits, so you're going to be able to outpace competitors with your quick responses. So speed matters in the short-term rental industry. By having a dedicated team that's responding swiftly at every hour, including in the middle of the night, you're giving yourself a competitive edge. You're going to be the first to answer inquiries. You're going to convert your bookings quicker. And your responsiveness at the end of the day can ultimately be the deciding factor for potential guests. If they have a question that they want to know in an inquiry, the faster you get back to them, the more confidence you're giving them in booking with you. This also is going to allow you to focus on your business growth. So it's basically allowing you to reclaim precious time. So instead of being bogged down by guest communication, you're able to redirect your efforts towards growing your business, which at the end of the day, that's your goal. That's what you want to do. So whether that means expanding your portfolio, implementing new strategies, new marketing strategies, refining your operations, having the resources to handle communication effectively frees you up for that strategic business development that you might not find yourself getting to otherwise. This is also going to get you set up for your high season. So as we're approaching the summer season, having those necessary resources for seamless guest communication is crucial. This is going to give you peace of mind. It's going to ensure that your business is well prepared to handle that increase, the influx in reservations, as well as in communication that you're receiving during peak seasons.
Thank you, Moselle. I'll take it over for the accounting part. I just keep the poll because we launched it a little bit before. So that's why. All right, so we're going to dive into accounting now. So we're going to first explore what Guesty's Trust Accounting solution can offer when it comes to automating a certain part of your work, when it comes to, generally speaking, with your owner statements and folios. And then we will have Jessie here on the call dive into Exemplify, which is another accounting solution, a more complete solution than our Trust Accounting module. So then you have all the options to choose from. All right, so why Guesty's Trust Accounting? First of all, what did we try to do here? As you know, Trust Accounting is a big chunk of your work. It takes a lot of time. It potentially takes a lot of resources from your team. So the idea into creating that module was to simplify your work, simplify your company's accounting process. Working the accounting in the STR industry is very, very complex. You might have different business models from different listings, different owners agreements. So trying to simplify and streamline that is not easy. With Guesty's Trust Accounting, what you're able to do is that you can create business models, assign each listing or group of listings to a business model, and then basically dictate what that business model will do for every reservation and every transaction that you receive. So that business model incorporates your net rental income. What is your net rental income, first of all? Accommodation fare, are you deducting fees from there? Cleaning fee, are you splitting some additional fees? How are you charging your owners for it? Expenses, owner charges, are you charging your vendors? Are you splitting some part of revenue with them? So all of that we were able to streamline, and that's the idea. Now, a big important factor of the automation is to reduce the manual work, and that includes the bank reconciliation part of it. So we recently launched a pilot with bank reconciliation where you're quickly able to reconcile your different bank revenue with your payouts that you see on Guesty, which is huge. And I want to emphasize that it's also obviously reduces the manual errors where, you know, it at the end of the day, it might be impactful. So with that, you'll kind of let the system, you trust the system, you've implemented the rules, and then every revenue, every transaction that gets into Guesty gets associated, get dispatched to the different ledgers. I want to say that the key feature of the Trust Accounting is the ability to automate the monthly owner statements. So at the beginning of every month, you will have pre-ready owner statements that you can review and then approve or flag if they need to be changed and regenerated. And those statements, you can share them very easily with your owners. So I would assume that most of your owners already have access to their owners portal, and the owner statements will be there. You will have a section in the owners portal where they can simply go in and download and view all their owner statements. I will show you in a bit what the owner statements look like, but it's including first of all what you decide to show them. We have different templates, depends how detailed you want to be with them. We have some who like to keep it very simple, credit, debit, and then some of them who like to have, you know, showing transparency with them. So showing all the net rental income for every reservation, the charges, if you're charging VAT, if they're remitting the taxes, so everything will be lined out. Lastly, what comes with the Trust Accounting module is accurate, traceable, and customizable accounting reports ready to be exported and imported into your accounting software if you're using it. So you might already use our reservations report. With accounting, this module gives you another selection of customizable reports We have posting journal, we have disbursement, we have PMC earnings, we have owner charges. We have a lot of reports where you can filter out the information, export it to CSV, and then quickly manipulate the data outside. Last but not least, we're North Carolina compliant. It's very important for me to state that, so that every transaction and every report that we have in the trust accounting module in Guesty will align with the strictest regulations in accounting. All right, so this is the owner statements page with the different templates. So each line shows a template. If you click on that, then you will have a PDF opening. I'll show the PDF just after. But then you can see, within a glance, what owner statements you're looking at, who's the owner, how many listings does he have associated, which business model, which rules it's following, what is the period, and then the status of the statement. So is it approved? Is it flagged? By default, it's going to be pending, waiting for your review. So the system really does that for you. And that's an example of a statement. So this is showing we have different pages. The first page is going to be the summary, and then the second pages will be the detailed. This one is one listing detail. So you can see here that first of all, everything is customizable in terms of the logo and the owner's information, the address, the name, and everything. Also, you're choosing what to choose here. As I said, you can hide pretty much everything and just show a credit debit, or you can decide to be a little more transparent with your owners and show exactly what you're paying them for. So here in this listings, we have the summary of the rental income, the cleaning, and the management fee. It's all detailed. You have the transaction date, you have the category, you see the rental income, you see the total amount based on the net rental income that you define in the business model. You have the management fee, which is your commission. You can charge an owner VAT, depending on your regulations. And then the net, what you need to pay out your owners. And all of that adds up. You can also add, of course, owner charges, expenses that you need to charge them for a specific listing or a specific reservation, or just as a regular expense. It can be a recurring expense that you can put in the business model, and then you put it once and that's it. Or it can be an expense that changes month over month. For example, electricity. If you're going to charge your owner for that, then obviously the amount will change. Very briefly, before I pass it on to you, Jessie, this is one of our accounting reports, one of our many, many accounting reports. So you can see that when you activate accounting here, you have a brand new selection of the menu. So you have the setup, the business models, the ledgers, the owners, accounting, so owner statements, everything related to the owners, disbursements, and vendors. So here it's just an example of a quick report that we pulled in for the taxes payable. So every taxes that you have to remit. You can see that with the plus, you're able to customize the filters you want to show, which ledger, which vendors. So here we put all the taxes. You can, of course, filter down to specific transaction dates. You can save the report. You can export it as the CSV. You can add a transaction. So very, very customizable. It's important for me to say that our accounting module is not an activation button. Very easy. You will go through an onboarding phase. It's very important that you have our accounting specialist with you, onboarding you, setting the business models with you, checking the numbers, explaining you how it works, what you're seeing in each reservation, each folio, because it can be a lot at the beginning to grasp. So you will have assistance there. If you are interested into accounting, you can send us an email, success@guesty.com, or you can simply browse through your Guesty interface. You have the little square on the top, Guesty add-ons, and it will be there as part of our add-ons offering. All right, over to you, Jessie.
All right, great. Well, thank you. First, I will introduce myself, Jessie, CEO and founder of Simplify, obviously. However, just so you know a little bit about us, I I have a background as a CPA in public accounting for around a decade, excuse me, and then became the CFO of a luxury real estate investment and vacation rental company, somewhat of a complex company that was operating globally, which is where I began to cut my teeth, so to speak, on the accounting nuances of this industry, and thought, wow, there's a lot of opportunity here to work and provide some financial leadership to the industry. So that's what we've been doing for a little north of 5 years now. But I think you can jump to the next slide. Just so that you know, just a summary of what we provide. Exemplify is we're a professional services company. So, we provide the short-term rental accounting expertise via our staff. And so all of our team members, about 50 at this point, are all they do is vacation rental accounting. And they're trained on the subject and trained to use, the tech stack that we work with to automate all things accounting, from trust accounting to management company accounting, your payroll, paying your taxes, filing your taxes, et cetera. Certainly when it comes to simplifying and streamlining, I can't speak enough about choosing the right tech stack to simplify and streamline and automate as many of those processes as you can. Obviously, we talked about bank reconciliations, automating invoice tracking, revenue tracking, the payments and the bank reconciliation, those owner fees, and then usually the thing that gets people hung up a lot is tracking reimbursable expenses. That's usually one where people have trouble having a system of tracking those, getting them either into their PMS or somehow deducting those from the owner. But again, as we look at our breadth of services, accounting, your payouts, certainly that CFO advisory service, and then depending on the software you're using, we also have a lot of custom reporting and dashboards with some of the accounting software that we use. So we can jump to the next slide. One of the things that we do is helping you think about all of your processes. Think about your tech stack, as you just talked about. Something with onboarding somebody in Guesty and their accounting module. Very important that you're working with somebody that's very experienced and talking you through all the nuances. And so that's really what we're going to come in, help you understand what's the appropriate tech stack to simplify everything from your trust accounting to payroll to paying bills to spend management, et cetera. Obviously, to keep those trust accounts funded appropriately, make sure you're paying yourself appropriately, not paying out revenue you didn't collect, and making sure also you're paid as the property management cut. From a services standpoint, as I guess I haven't mentioned yet, we do use our own proprietary accounting platform called VR Platform. So it plugs in to Guesty, and we're taking the data from Guesty, invoices, payments, payouts from Airbnb and Stripe, because we also connect with those platforms as well as Booking.com for any direct payments that are coming from Booking.com. And we are effectively posting all of the activity from a revenue, management commissions, channel commissions that you might be deducting, other fees, booking fees that you might be deducting. Those are all being posted into QuickBooks. So as an alternative to using Guesty accounting, we would bring everything over into one QuickBooks environment, managing both your operating funds as well as your trust funds, to reconcile. And then from that reconciled QuickBooks data, we produce our own owner statements. Very similar process to the Guesty accounting module. But then we're going to produce that statement, same idea, put it in review for our team or for your team to review, make sure that everything looks like you believe it should, as well as we haven't missed maybe expenses or something that you needed to tell us about. And then you're going to approve that, and money goes out the door to pay that owner. So very much, we look to really simplify. It's a complex process. Accounting is not easy to begin with. Trust accounting can be even more challenging. So that's why we really focus on offloading the burden of that from you to us, and so that you can make sure that your owners get paid and you can go on running your business. I see a question here, is this like Avalara? It's not like Avalara. We actually plug into Avalara and work with Avalara to file your sales taxes. But this is a complete trust and management company accounting reporting solution, or accounting solution managed by us and our team, our trained team. See another question here. From non-US properties, do you have accounting suggestions? I can talk about that here in a bit. So I talked about the beyond revenue. Obviously, there's other bottlenecks from an accounting perspective. Hey, how are you handling payroll, onboarding employees, offboarding employees? How are you managing spend? You give people a bunch of credit cards. How are you making sure that they're not overspending on those credit cards? How are you making sure that you're deducting the right fees from channel fees from your owners? We have ways to automate that process. Tracking billable time, all those types of items are things that we help people think through. And believe me, not one size fits all in this scenario. Really, depending on how people work, there's always going to be a different solution. Usually, there's a lot of best practices that we share and try to help people come to the best solution for their team. As another option, we do have larger, typically 100 units and over, as folks start to scale to that level, or they begin to, maybe they have various funds that own properties, or they own some of their own properties as well as managing properties for their own, for others, or they buy multiple property management companies, or just simply as they grow, they're looking for more dynamic reporting, analytics, KPI tracking, financial KPI tracking. That's where we'll look to implement and have a company move off of QuickBooks. If someone's saying, hey, QuickBooks isn't quite what I need today, that's when we typically will start talking to them about Sage Intacct as an alternative. We again plug in Guesty into Sage Intacct. Really provides a clear trust accounting reporting structure, again, as well as the management code reporting as well, to provide a very robust and more advanced reporting tool for your company and understanding how you're performing. This is just a sample profit and loss statement that we use and that would bring within Sage Intacct. One of the things that I always look at with our clients, especially our larger clients on Sage Intacct, is we help them understand, okay, what's our guest revenue or rent revenue? You can look at either metric, and then understanding the P&L and the ratios between your management revenue, your direct costs, and your operating expenses, and then certainly your bottom line as a percentage of that rent revenue. So these are things that are very important to start to look at different trends and again help you understand, hey, where can I increase my take rate? Meaning how do I get more revenue of the revenue I'm charging guests? How do I get more of that in my pocket? And then how do I control spend to make sure that my operating expenses stay in the right ratio as a percentage of my guest revenue, to ensure a healthy, growing bottom line. These are all the various services that we provide. Certainly from a consulting standpoint, we're always going to come in and help you determine that tech stack, get help with your processes, and putting the right systems in place to streamline your systems, whether we're going to do it or you, then, a lot of folks, most folks are going to come to us and say, hey, well, even with the right technology, this is really complex as I grow, or it still takes a decent amount of time and expertise. So we'd love you to do it for us. And so that's where we offer different levels of services, from trust accounting and owner statements only, all the way to platinum, where we really become your outsourced accounting team. And then finally, we can do that either within and on QuickBooks, or for your larger property management companies looking for that next step and getting off QuickBooks, we'll suggest and work with you to implement Sage Intacct. I didn't mention on that last slide, we did say 1099s. That is one feature we actually just launched this year. Clients and customers love it. Within our system, owners can filter and show year-end summary statements however they want, and then essentially with the click of a button, that year-end statement can be used to file an e-file 1099s at the end of the year. So really has been a time saver for our team, as well as our clients using our software. Looks like we got pulled up, so I'll leave that there. And I got through it in like 10-15 minutes. I'm surprised. I usually talk more than that.
All right, I think we got the answers. Yep.
All right, great.
All right, so I just wanted to highlight that you can find Simplify on our marketplace. So you go back into the little square that I pointed out right before. On top of your screen, the square, you have the add-ons, and you also have the marketplace. And then you will be able to find Simplify there. This is your all-in-one hospitality platform that Guesty offers. So you can see that we do offer many, many features. The goal of this webinar was to help you scale part of your operations, what we identified as taking a huge portion of your time, being the communication and the accounting part of it. And hopefully you can see with Guesty all the different build-ons that we have here, whether it's payments, whether it's the analytics, whether it's reporting tools, it's revenue management, it's accounting, it's task management. We really are trying to be that one-stop shop for you, where you can either use Guesty's own features or plug in and use our partners' direct integrations. So this is our main goal, to help make your life easy. Before jumping to the Q&A, I wanted to mention that we do have a new add-on, which is called Guesty Capital. And since we're already talking about scaling your operations, it's very relevant for me to make sure that you're aware that if you're in the US and you're approved to it, you might be able to unlock funding right away. So this is something that we partner with. You can gain immediate access to extra cash to then fuel your business as you want, marketing, hiring, any way you want to scale, adding more listings, refurnishing. Applications do not require any personal guarantees, and it does not impact your credit score. There's no interest. You pay back Guesty cash advance. So when you have sales, by the percentage of your future sales, meaning that you don't have any revenue right now, you don't pay us back. So check if you're eligible for that via our add-on center that I just mentioned before. You have the Guesty Capital scorecard. And then if it's available to you, you can click on that, and then you can already see a pre-approved offer. These offers expire, I think it's only for a couple of weeks. So make sure that check out this, quite frequently to see if you do have an offer and if it's that relevant to you, if that could help you, get access to immediate cash to fuel your business, then feel free to use that opportunity. All right, Q&A. So I think we've started answering some of the questions here. There was one I wanted to ask you again. Jesse, I think someone asked about non-US properties, if they can potentially use Simplify, or if it's only for US.
Sorry, I muted myself. So today we are currently able, if you wanted to do it non-US, we support folks that are not in the US, but we still use the QuickBooks, although the international version of QuickBooks. We do have a solution coming, which will allow and be much more global within the next 3 to 6 months. That will encompass, our own GL feature that'll really be a cross-border solution. So there is an option to support that, but probably best to wait until we release that new solution.
All right, sounds good. We have a question about the guest communications, Musel. So James is asking, can Guesty log when the guest communicates with the management company and also log what time the company responding to the guest? So I think it's more about the visibility that they can get with our team answering.
Sure. So I'll provide you with a little bit of clarity about how the team actually responds to your guests. So they are inside your Guesty platform. They are seeing the portal in the same way that you do, meaning that you will have full visibility over all of their communication with your guests because it's happening in the same inbox, in the same channels that you're familiar with. So you'll see the timestamps. You can jump in. It's important for me to let you know that if GCSP takes over your communication, you don't lose access to anything. If you happen to be in the portal and a message came in and you knew the answer and you wanted to answer right away, you could. You don't lose any kind of functionality and you have full visibility because everything is taking place within your platform.
We also have a question about the 45 minutes. So someone wants to make sure that they're asking if it's every message answered in 45 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's important to clarify that it's the maximum. That's basically the SLA that we can commit to. Yeah. Then of course, that's the maximum, timestamp that we can provide. But obviously, we're able to answer much faster than that, depending on the urgency. As far as I know.
We have another good question here about the communication services. So someone is asking, they use Breezeway and they want to know if GCSP can assist them using Breezeway. So GCSP will use any third-party platform that you're using. If it's Breezeway for task management, Remote Locks as your locks manager, whatever it might be, GCSP can log in. We have GCSP using an application to turn on and off pool heating for one of the guests. So they're very, very flexible in their abilities.
We have a question about workflows here. Is there a way to copy or duplicate a workflow? There's a lot of copy pasting and setup when you are trying to tweak different workflows depending on the booking situation. Yes, absolutely, Brian. You're right. There's a lot of different settings that you can do and that you should do. That's part of our best practices, recommending that you have different workflows based on last minute or advance notice a little bit higher, or different channels where your communication might not be the same. There's no way to duplicate a workflow right now. I know that it's in the roadmap. What you can do is using our templates. We have some templates of predefined flows instead of building them from scratch. If that could help, at least you have the base structure of it. But I know it's coming. It's been a pretty common request. I don't see any other open questions. So if you want to ask more about communications, scaling, accounting, or Simplify specifically, then feel free to send us your questions now via the Q&A box. Otherwise, I think we'll just wrap up the session.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Very much. Just wanted to know if this session was helpful for you. It's important for you to know if we want to continue doing those little workshops, webinars to talk about different features. So one last for the fun. And it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure having you Jesse and Moselle. So thank you very much, and I hope everyone enjoyed.
Great, thank you.